Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings, episode 17, I believe, which would be a grand total of 48 episodes of Cube World. Continuing right along, we're at level 98 on our Ranger here, so maybe if I play my cards right this time, we will break 100. That would be kind of cool. The first time I've done it in game. This is my first character in game and my first world, so everything would be a first for me as it stands. It's for me Saturday night, very late Saturday night, June the 21st, 2014. This will be going up on the usual Sunday. It'll be tomorrow the 22nd. And it's been a little less stuff going on this week than usual. So I still have quite a bit to talk about. I need to finish up some of my thoughts on E3, as well as get some of my thoughts in on the summer Steam sales, summer sales both in Steam and on GOG. Which unfortunately, one of the downfalls to having just a weekly podcast is that the GOG sale is pretty well over by now. But it's there's still quite a lot of nice old games on there that started bringing me back to some nostalgic thoughts. So I have some things I want to talk about there as well. But I want to round up some of my stuff about E3 here. I left out some very important games that I've been waiting patiently for, and I just sort of ran out of time in the last episode. Even though it was an extended episode, I still sort of didn't have enough time to cover everything. So let's go back through my old list here and see what else I didn't check off of it. So number one on that would be Mirror's Edge 2. Holy crap, how did I not talk about this last week? I watched the trailers that came out for it, and I like what I'm hearing. I very much do. Now, obviously I've played through all of Mirror's Edge 1 several times, including once on YouTube, which, by the way, since we're talking about the Steam sales here, I believe Mirror's Edge 1 is on sale right now on Steam. It's a, where is that on my list here? It is 50% off, which I think makes it about $10 US, question mark, something like that. I didn't actually write the prices down because, you know, it's... I might be the only one who cares about the US dollar prices on things. So, you know, I just wrote down the percentage offs, which I think will probably be the same in every region I would imagine that Steam is in. So yeah, Mirror's Edge 2. They didn't really show off any gameplay. They were showing off a lot of their sandbox stuff that they've been working on to, you know, kind of get the character models done and some of the mechanics done. And let me just say, the stuff that they're doing with the mechanics and with the modeling is quite good. Faith looks really good, and more importantly, she moves a little bit more fluidly, from what I could tell from that video, than in the first Mirror's Edge. And also, there's a de-emphasizing of the weapons in the game, which I really like. Instead of always constantly picking up a weapon whenever you take somebody out, she just passes them up, which is really what it should be about. I mean, I that was the one complaint I had for the original Mirror's Edge, is that there was a little too much emphasis on the gunplay. It felt like there was a first-person shooter that was just trying to burst out of her chest like an alien being especially towards the end of that game. So I'm glad to see that the second game they've pretty much de-emphasized it to the max. You can still, from what I could see, you could still pick up weapons, but she wouldn't automatically pick them up when she takes people down. And also, she's using a lot more of her agility, her speed, and her I guess athleticism in the takedown maneuvers now. There was a video of her, sort of breaking one of the blues, punching him in the face, and he was wearing a helmet, and the glass shattered as she punched him in the face, and it fell over and kind of collapsed on the ground. That I really like what they're doing there. I really like what I'm hearing there. It sounds like it's closer to the spirit of the game that we want it. That being said, did not get to see any actual levels. It was all just sort of test levels. I'm hoping that the city is a little what's the word I'm looking for? Less high contrast, I guess. I'm not sure. I guess less shiny than it was. Maybe there could be areas that are very, very shiny, very whitewashed. But I'd like to see a little bit less, a little bit of the de-emphasizing of the very, very bright, I guess, almost pastel-y colors that were in the original game. Not that there was anything wrong with it. It was still a rather nice looking game, but it wasn't fantastic looking. You could see with all those colors that the textures were really, and it felt like a hybrid between a cartoon and real life, somewhere in between those two things, and hopefully they take some of the cartoony stuff out of there, because it was nice. It was a cool little thing, but it felt out of place when you went through these cartoonish cutscenes, and then you were back into this sort of hyper realistic thing that wasn't really hyper or realistic. It was just very rainbowish. Because every color in the original game was sort of I don't know the real terms, but I'm going to say high saturation, highly saturated. The oranges were just bright orange, and the blues were bright blues, as much as blue can be a bright blue, and the greens and everything else. It was very almost hospital-ish. It felt like you were running through one continuous hospital almost. So we'll see. None of that, as far as I could tell from the videos, has been shown off yet. So, but it looks like they're making progress, at least on the mechanics side of it, and everything I've heard so far from the mechanics side of it has me impressed. So I am waiting with bated breath to see that come out, and I believe they are going to do a PC release of it. I'm not sure though. I don't even know if they've announced what platforms are doing it. Obviously, there's going to be console platforms, I would imagine, but I don't know if it's going to be an exclusive, or if it's going to be multi-platform, or if PC is going to get, a boost or not. So that is that. That is what I can say about that. It's still waiting with bated breath to hear more information about that. Criterion. Criterion is apparently working. Criterion, for those of you wondering, I believe they worked on. They're usually working on racing games, and I believe, if I remember correctly, they were the guys that worked on the Burnout series, and possibly Flat Out. I'm not sure. I don't remember if they were the ones that did Flat Out, but I'm fairly certain they did Burnout, because Burnout Paradise, I believe, and Burnout Revenge and whatnot were all Criterion games. Done by Criterion Games, I believe. which is a division of EA now, or they were bought by EA, or some kind of symbiotic relationship they have with EA now. So what they've announced is that they are working on another racing game, and they've literally just called it Criterion Racing Game because they don't have a title for it yet. So extremely early. I don't. From what I saw, they had a video, and it was. How could I put this? It was almost sort of an X game-ish thing? Question mark. Where it was sort of like focusing on the extreme nature of racing. So I don't know what to make of that yet, and it sounds like it's so early on right now. It's still in the very early concept phase, so who knows what it'll be? Who knows how it will end up? But I'm still glad to hear that they're working on a new racing game because I am a big fan of the Burnout series. I played Burnout Revenge on the Xbox 360. And I played Burnout Paradise on the Xbox 360, and I've also played it, of course, on the PC. Although you'll have to go over to my Twitch channel to see the episode 1 of that. So I'm excited to hear them still working on their strong suit. So we'll see what comes out of that. Crackdown. This is from Microsoft. I believe it's an Xbox One exclusive. This is kind of the other reason why I'm seriously considering getting an Xbox One. In fact, I start looking on Amazon, so one might be coming sooner rather than later. This is I believe it's sort of it's a first-person shooter, open world ? Rebellion thing. It's sort of an alternate history take, and I feel completely unprepared here because I watched the video for it, and I read up a little bit on it, and then that was 2 weeks ago, and now I didn't write any of that down. So if I sound unprepared, I am. It caught my attention because of the alternate history stuff and the idea that you're leading or helping some kind of uprising. And I believe there was there another one that was called Crackdown? I feel like that word has been used before. I feel like there was a game like that before, but it does not ring a bell. So just something else that kind of also made me highly believe that I'm going to get an Xbox One now. Just another in the long list of things that are Xbox One exclusives that that caught my attention. And we've got the announcement of Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, I have not been a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise. I was talking in the live stream last night with some of the guys on the server, on the Livecraft Mind server, and it sounds like they're pumped up for Assassin's Creed Unity. And I don't necessarily have anything bad to say about the games. I've watched some Let's Plays of, I think, Assassin's Creed 4. Or was that 3? It might have been 3, because 4, I think, was Black Flag, maybe? Yeah, I think. I don't remember. I haven't watched anything of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But I have watched some of the one before that, whatever one it was before that. I've lost track now. There's nothing particularly bad about the games. It's just they don't seem to appeal to me for some reason. I feel like it feels more like a Thief-like game, except you're not not first person, and it's not really, from what I could tell, it's not really an RPG, although it does have RPG elements. It's I guess that would be classified as an action RPG, but it doesn't feel like one to me when I look at it. I don't know why. It's this weird thing with my brain. So I've never really been that interested in it. It just never appealed to me that much. But if that's the thing that you're into, I mean, they've announced it, and they've also, if I have written this down correctly, which, let me flip the page here. This one is going to take place in Paris, just prior to the French Revolution, which is an interesting period of history. Black Flag also is something that Assassin's Creed Black Flag interested me, because the whole naval clipper ship thing. Although I don't know how much that actually played a part in the final game, because I didn't watch too much of it on YouTube. But that is one of those things that sort of draws my attention into a game a lot of times, is the whole idea of the old wooden ships, firing cannons at each other, because it's one of those genres that hasn't really been done that well. I mean, I've heard stories that Sid Meier's Pirates was a very good game, which now that I've said that, I need to search on GOG to see if that's actually out there, because that might be something interesting to pick up now that all these sales are on. But I've never played it. I've never played Sid Meier's Pirates, so I don't know. But I've heard it's fantastic. So taking that out of the list for a moment, there hasn't really been any other pirate-ish games with wooden ships, or even just regular naval games with wooden ships from that period of history that have actually really been any good from what I can tell. So kind of waiting for one of those to be to be the killer thing, because that's the one area I think that's never really been done that well, and I would really like to see someone do it well, because I would jump all over whatever game did it well. I mean, I've been I have Pixel Piracy lying around, which I tried to dig into a little bit earlier, but a while ago, but it didn't have a very good tutorial, and it's still very, very early when I tried it, and I just couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And I don't know if it's any easier to figure out now or not, but I still have it. I still want to dig in and see what I can do there. And then there's another one I just saw on Steam, Greenlight, that got greenlit a couple weeks ago, and I think I even talked about it. It's called Naval Action, and it has to do with it's an indie game that has to do with wooden ships and cannons, fighting each other with an open world, open ocean type of area where you go around fighting your own battles, doing your own stuff. Sort of the Elite Dangerous of of naval games, maybe. And I'm just following that on Steam to see when that fleshes itself out, because I've got my eye on it, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, also they announced that this is the first time in an Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Unity, will be the first time that they have 4-player co-op, which sounds fantastic. I saw some co-op from whatever Assassin's Creed game I saw before. I think it was 3 on YouTube, and that looked like it was a lot of fun. And also, I put this down as a bullet point because it became sort of a controversy / running joke, which is there was a big hubbub after Ubisoft announced this. Was this Ubisoft? I believe it's Ubisoft. Announced this, that there were no female playable characters. And There was big to do about on the internet, and a representative, I believe, responded to it by saying that it was too difficult to include a female character in the game. And now it's been sort of a running joke amongst other developers who've started adding female characters to their games just to snub them in the eye and show them how easy it actually is to do a gender swap. And a lot of that snubbing is more ribbing than anything else, because obviously having a female model is only a portion of the formula. You also need female voiced dialogue if there's any voice dialogue for your main character, and so on and so forth, and presumably also make concessions in the not concessions, that's not the word I want to use, make changes in the game's storyline, where a female character could maybe have different dialogue, different branching dialogue, and all that stuff, different choices, different options than her male counterpart, in order to fully integrate it. So obviously, it's not just as easy as doing a palette swap or doing a model swap, unless it is as easy as doing that. It really depends on how in depth your game is and how in depth your player character is actually integrated into everything. So that being said, Assassin's Creed will jump over to the Steam Summer Sale here. From what I can tell, I've been digging through Steam last couple hours here, and it looks like to me every Assassin's Creed game, 4, 2, 3, Liberation, the original one, original Assassin's Creed, several of them, if not all of them, appear to be 40% off right now on Steam. Individually, 40% off on Steam. So, if you wanted to get into the storyline or into the world of Assassin's Creed, you might want to potentially look into the Steam Summer Sale and start to dig in from whatever point you want to dig in at. I probably won't, because there's still nothing yet that has caught my attention as far as that goes. There was a little bit of a sci-fi underpinning. If I remember from the first game, I saw the last a video of the ending of it, where there was sort of this like time travel-ish mechanic, or not mechanic, but hint in the story. I don't know if that's continued into the other stories or not, because I haven't seen them all the way through. But there's not enough of it there that it would. There's not enough of this sci-fi-ish stuff there that it would really keep my attention, other than the occasional nudge here and there. Let's see what else is on my list here. Dragon Age Inquisition. This is the newest and latest Dragon Age that has been announced. It's apparently going to be more open-ended than all of its predecessors. So that's Dragon Age Origins, and I think this is that's all there was, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I might be missing one in there. But yeah, I think there's just 2 or 3. I don't remember. So apparently this one's trying to right the ship, trying to fix some of the things, some of the large complaints that the players had for some of the other games in the franchise. The thing that I've heard the most is that Dragon Age Origins was not worth the box that it was it was packaged in. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I've never played the game. That's just the stuff that I've heard from people. I've heard that it's not quite the game that a lot of people want it. It doesn't really hold up to the original in the series. It was too linear, so on and so forth. So I've never personally gotten into the Dragon Age stuff. I don't find the story very interesting. which is weird to say because I'm into Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff. But for some reason, Dragon Age just, yeah, it never felt like something I wanted to do. Oh, hey, look. We have made it. We have made it to level 100. We're level 100 Ranger. Woohoo! All right. We are still making progress here. Let's I want to get into this palace here, Gessel Palace, and see if I can get some loot and some more some more experience as we go. Anywho, back to my list here. There wasn't anything else I had really to say about Dragon Age Inquisition. If it's something that you guys are into, I'm sure you're probably already waiting with bated breath for it. Maybe, I mean, I'm going to reserve my judgment on it until I hear from several sites about how it is when it's released, and from several YouTube videos and whatnot. And you know, it might, if it looks really good and it is as good as they're saying that it should be, it might be the first time I dig into the Dragon Age genre or world universe. So we'll see. Yeah, you know, I got so many things on my list right now that I want to play that I'm just that one is sort of number 63 on that list. Getting more into some of the things that I really enjoy that tend to jump even higher on my list than most. Getting a lot of information on several sci-fi space combat games, simulator games. As you know, it's a genre that I really like. It's also a genre that is very, very hit or miss. So, with that said, we've got, first up here, Eve Valkyrie. This game, I saw the videos for it, and I'm like, I'm totally speechless, totally blown away by it. I have never played Eve Online. To me, it always seemed like spreadsheets in space, which is not a whole lot of fun, in my opinion. The I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? The difficulty curve was a little too steep, and so on and so forth. That being said, the universe itself sounds like it would be a cool universe to be in. So a cool universe to romp around in, I should say. So it's always been something on my radar. It's just, I haven't had a reason to do it yet. I kind of looked at Dust 345173309, whatever it was. Dust 415, was it? I don't, some number, dust and some number, some 3-digit number. I initially looked at that. That was sort of their first-person shooter that took place in the Eve universe, and integrated with everything. But as far as I know, that did not get a PC release. That was only on consoles, and even at that point, it was only on PS3, I think, that it was ever released on, and then CCP just abandoned it. Much to the chagrin of many an Eve player. But Eve Valkyrie, it looks really good. I really want to play it. It's the space fighter, space combat thing. It's basically jump into a fighter plane and do your thing. What worried me though, and I'm starting to hear things that are slightly different now, so I'm kind of not as worried as I was when I wrote this down. But everything, it seems like they are heavily emphasizing the Oculus Rift and the Project Morpheus for the PS4, which is basically the equivalent to the Oculus Rift on a console, because the Oculus is only PC centric right now. So And they're like heavily emphasizing it, almost to the point of saying you can't play the game without it. And that kind of worried me, because I'm like, I don't really have any intention of buying an Oculus Rift. It sounds like a gimmick to me, and always really has. All those kind of things seem like gimmicks to me. Even the Kinect and the Wandy thing that I have for the PS3. They're all just gimmicks, and I'm not really that interested in them, except for the occasional, hey, we got this to do something it wasn't supposed to do, type of thing. You know, the hacking of them, so to speak, into making them into something greater than their initial parts. So the fact that they were emphasizing it so heavily made me think, well, if this requires an Oculus Rift, then it's not going to be something I can ever play with, because I don't have any intention of ever getting an Oculus. But it sounds like they've inserted some footnotes in there, and it's like, oh, you know, you can still play it if you don't have one, which makes sense to me, because, you know, but I guess, you know, I would imagine the way that they're emphasizing the Oculus so heavily that they're going to probably design their GUI and design their UI around that. And if you don't have one, I imagine the UI is going to be a lot clunkier, probably. Which, I'll tell you what, if the game is good, and I mean really good with the story and everything else, then a clunky interface without the Oculus Rift, probably not the worst thing to happen. It's not the best thing to happen, but it's, you know, it might be slightly forgivable. I mean, this coming from a guy who plays lots of old games that had very clunky interfaces by today's standards as well. And also along those same lines, and I thought I had this. Oh yes, here it is. No Man's Sky. I think I talked about this a while ago, quite a while ago. It's being developed by Hello Games, which does the Joe Dangerous stuff, and it's from the very first moment it was announced, the very first trailer that they released, I was absolutely hooked. It is, to put it bluntly, it is Starbound meets Minecraft meets what would be another analogy? Well, probably not Minecraft. We'll say StarMade meets Wing Commander. No, Privateer, I would say, or even what was that? What was that other one that Chris Roberts did for Microsoft Studios? Not Starlancer, Freelancer, or even Starlancer, I guess, but more like Freelancer, because you can go off and do whatever the hell you want to do. There's no real set story from what I can tell. It is a heavily exploration-based game, so basically it's just like you would expect in Minecraft. You just spawn in, you go off and explore. You try to collect as much data as you can. You build stuff. It's voxel-based, but it's also a seamless voxel-based thing. That's where the StarMade thing comes in, where you can basically jump into your fighter at any time, take off, fly out, you know, without any loading screens, right out into the universe. They even have a video for E3 where they flew out, and you know, the planet that they were on had all kinds of dinosaurs and stuff on it, and then they hopped in their fighter, flew off into space, engaged some enemy ships in combat, and then landed on another planet, or well, flew onto another planet and just sort of skimmed the surface looking at stuff. And the planets in the game they're not all unexplored. The way they explain this is that there is a multiplayer aspect of the game, but it's not direct multiplayer. It's the universe starts out as sort of unexplored, and then as other players go out and find planets and start to explore them and whatnot, those planets that they've explored become available in the universe map for other players who can then stumble on them, and they'll see, oh, this was found by this player and it's named this. Which sounds really cool. It's kind of like the subtle. It's a very subtle Dark Souls co-op or multiplayer, I should say. Basically, where somebody drops in, does something, and then drops out, but they don't actually drop in and drop out. It's more like a play by email, I guess, thing. So that has me very curious and very it's right up my alley of things I want to play. So they showed off this other trailer at E3. It looked awesome. You should go check them out and see if it's something that you're into. Like I said, when I saw the first video way back when, I was immediately hooked on it. What are we doing here? All right, we are about 36 minutes in. I only say that because it is 11:30 my time right now, and it's been a long day, and I'm already, you can probably hear it in my voice that I'm starting to get tired. But I must plunge on here. There's more things to be said. What else did I talk about here? Oh, Fable Legends. Now, I've never played Fable 1. I did play Fable 2, and I liked it a lot, actually. Played it on my Xbox, on Xbox 360. I think I got all the way to the end. I'm pretty sure I got all the way to the end. So I liked that. There were some things in there about the story that I didn't really find too nice. I won't say because it's spoilers for the end of the game. But there were a few things there at the end of the game that I was kind of like, I don't like what they did here. But other than that, because they kind of take some of your you have a choice, but they sort of take away some of it as well. Much like apparently Fable 3 did at the very end, which I don't think did I play Fable 3? No, I didn't play Fable 3. I watched videos of it, but I haven't played it. So that said, Fable Legends is apparently coming up. It's got this. It's not the RPG that we were sort of expecting, I guess. It's weird. It's like instead of being like a straight RPG, action RPG, like the other games in the series, it's got the action RPG elements, but it's also got a tactical element, and that's what makes it strange, right? It's basically it sort of sparks me as like a Wing Commander Academy type thing, where it's a very incomplete game that's meant to get you interested in the next game in the series, or in the series itself. And I say all that with air quotes, incomplete game, because it is a game. It is complete to one extent, but it just seems it seems almost like a cash grab. I hate to say that, but it's kind of what it seems like. Where basically you have the idea of heroes and villains and dungeons, right? These all are regular RPG trope things, right? But what they've done is they said it's going to be a 4 versus 1 type of thing. Which I don't know if that means there's no single player in the game, or if the single player in the game just throws bots at you. I think from what I saw it was like single player, but then you can have bots for all the other players. I can't say for sure, but essentially, one of those 5 players, becomes the villain, quote unquote, of a dungeon, right? Whatever dungeon you happen to be visiting. And that villain has a top-down view where they go and place traps and monsters and other things in the dungeon to try to kill the heroes, which are the other 4 players. There's also a chance that you'll start a game and you will be one of the heroes, and then you have to fight your way through the dungeon and not get dead, and also conquer all the various traps. Being as how much I liked the Fable series, this is not something that I probably will ever dig into. Because I looked at it again, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. There's something off about this. So that's, but that, to each their own. I'm sure there are those out there who would really enjoy a game like that. To me, it seems like it feels incomplete to me. That's just my personal feeling on it. What else? I think I covered. I know I'm missing something. I know it. Well, okay. So Far Cry 4. The only interesting thing. This is going to sound bad. So, not a fan of Far Cry, of any of the Far Cry games. To me, they've always been just the demo for the Crytek engine. This is how we're going to sell the Crytek engine to other developers. We're just going to slap together a game that people can play, and then that'll also help us fund more development on the engine. So Far Cry 4 just seems like more of the same. I don't see anything in it that's rather interesting, except for one bullet point. And that one bullet point is the multiplayer. They're doing something a little bit interesting, actually. But only on the PS4. It's only going to be exclusive on the PS4. This particular feature. Far Cry 4 is going to come out as multi-platform, but for this particular feature, it's only applicable to the PS4. And that is, if your friends do not own the game, you can still play multiplayer with them. Presumably, they can try to join your game, or you can invite them to your game, and then that would download the multiplayer client for them, even though they don't own the game, and allow them to play on whatever maps. It's an interesting concept. It is a very interesting concept. I don't know how that will work out for them, but I applaud them for trying something a little bit different. Like, hey, we really want you to play multiplayer. We really want this feature to not go unused. We know there's a lot of you out there who just normally play single player, so we know that not all of your friends probably have bought the game. So here you go. You can play with them. They just won't get the full game out of it. They'll just get the multiplayer aspect. I was like, well, that actually sounds reasonable. And it's different and it's new. So we'll see what comes of that. Maybe that will be the thing that drives more sales for them, depending on how good or not good their multiplayer is. And then what else do we have here? What else do we have here? I think I got oh nope, I didn't. I had talked about Eve Valkyrie. Elite Dangerous. Yes, I have been following it. Actually, once the beta comes out, I should be able to gain access to it, because I have put some money down on it. On a side note, I'm seeing developers do this now. The developers of Starcrawlers are doing this, and I've seen the developers of several other things do this. and it bugs me a little bit. Normally when you get into an early access game like that, or not early access, but early funding, crowdfunding, I should say, it is not unusual to see things like, hey, if you pledge at this tier, you gain access to the alpha. If you pledge or to the beta, I should say. If you pledge at a higher tier, you get access to the alpha. That is okay. I'm not. I mean, it's not the best thing in the world. I would rather everybody gain access to the same thing at the same time. But I can kind of understand where they're going for there. They need it to provide a reward tier, and that is an interesting way of providing it, right? What I do not like, what I despise, and I'm seeing this happening more, and it's very confusing. I was just confused today. I was looking at Starcrawlers because I heard, the alpha was out, and I was like, oh, I have access to the alpha. Nope. Yes, I do have access to the alpha, but it's not the alpha that's out. It's the pre-alpha, which when I looked on the Kickstarter tiers was $10 more, and I'm like, okay, now you're really screwing with me. Now this is not cool. This is not cool at all. And Elite Valkyrie is doing the same, or not Elite Valkyrie, Elite Dangerous. I just combined two games there. Elite Dangerous is doing the same thing, although it feels like they did it a little bit more shady, where they introduced them a little bit later into the thing. They have an alpha and beta tier. I did not get into the alpha tier because it was like 400 freaking bucks or something, which is outrageous, but okay, whatever. I got into the beta tier, and it's in beta, but it's not beta. It's premium beta. And I was, you're driving me freaking nuts now. Right? So even though I bought beta access, I don't have access to the beta because it's the premium beta, not the regular beta, which is just pissing me off to no end, I gotta tell you. Because I had that happen, because I looked at it the other day, say, hey, can I download Elite Dangerous right now to play it? Nope. And then I looked at Starcrawlers today, and I'm like, can I download this to play it because it's in alpha? Nope. It's in pre-alpha. If there are any game devs out there who bother watching this, for the love of all that is holy, please stop doing that. You've got beta, you've got alpha. That's it. Do not do this pre-alpha, pre-beta. Oh, this is a different tier than the regular alpha people. The unwashed alpha, the washed alpha, just the regular alpha, the gold alpha, the platinum alpha. Just stop doing it. Stop it. You're either in alpha state, or you're in beta state, or you're in gamma state, which is earlier than alpha state, right? That's the quote-unquote pre-alpha, where it's just like, it's pretty much a tech demo, okay? So just name it that way, okay? You want to give people access to the tech demo for a higher price? Fine. Call it a tech demo and be done with it, all right? You want them alpha access? Call it alpha, be done with it. Beta, call it beta, be done with it, okay? Don't do this. Well, we got this alpha. You've got alpha 1, and this guy's got alpha 4, and we're at alpha 0.5, and it's just no. Stop doing that, please stop doing that. That is just confusing as hell, and you're just causing people like me who really want to support you and really want to get my hands on these games and actually try to help you out a little bit. You're pissing me off, and I'm on your side. I can't imagine people who do not understand programming and how programming works could ever understand whether or not they have access to anything or not anymore. It's just you've got Echo Zebra Alpha access, and you've got Beta Charlie Joplin access. And it's like, what are we doing here? Are we launching missiles, or are we playing games? Just let me know, please. Oh God. So yes, rant over / rant. Eve, yeah, no, elite, elite, dangerous. I cannot wait to get my hands on that. There was another video of it out in E3. It looks fantastic. I have no idea whether or not it'll actually work on my machine. I say that because I just downloaded Star Citizen, the dogfighting module, or whatever they're calling it now, the Vandal Swarm, or shooty bang bang. I don't know what the name of it is anymore. And it plays like ass. It really does on my machine. It just, the loading, it takes like 20 minutes to load, and once you're in the cockpit and you're flying around, it's cool, but the controls are all kind of wonky, and you know, it is very, very early, and I expected that from Star Citizen because it is so early. I'm hoping that Elite Dangerous, since it's been cooking for longer, that it will it will be in a far more playable state than what I've seen from Star Citizen. So that is on my list. As I mentioned, Star Citizen, they missed an E3 announcement, but they did. The dogfighting module did finally come out. I've got my hands on it. Been playing a little bit of it. There's some, I believe they're rolling out the multiplayer to certain people. I don't know if it's to everybody or not, because I got a separate email for it. So I need to test that out a little bit. Before I jump into multiplayer though, I got to figure out my control scheme. It's just kind of weird. I don't think I'll ever be able to record it though, because again, it's Crytek 4 engine, and for some reason on my machine, the Crytek 4 engine stuff just will not play. But anywho, I have talked enough for one episode of Cube Ramblings. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next Sunday.